Right, good day everyone, and welcome to the next in our series of chats with local Southwest business owners. Today I'm talking to Shaun Whitehouse from Lanes Hotel in West Coca. Good morning, Shaun. How are you today? A little bit rainy though.
Good morning. Very well, thank you.
Oh, brilliant. Thanks so much for taking your time. I know business owners, especially now and in the business that you're in, time is very much a very pricey commodity. So, but thanks very much. I really appreciate it. Right. Without further ado, let's just and get started. How about telling me a little bit about what is Lanes Hotel? Yes, it's a hotel, but what is special about it, and how long have you been in this business?
Okay. Well, Lanes Hotel, in its current guise, has been around since around 2003. It was a hotel before that, but looked very different. In 2003, the refurbishment of the main house was completed, and then in 2007 the extension next door was completed, and that gives us 31 bedrooms in total, including apartments and a penthouse suite, restaurant, spa area, gym, meeting rooms and public lounges, as well as 4 acres of beautiful gardens. We purchased the hotel back in 2015, and prior to that my whole career had been in hotels, standalone restaurants, private members clubs, from humble coffee shops all the way up to Michelin-starred restaurants, so and 4-star deluxe hotels. So quite a broad range of experience in the hospitality industry.
My goodness gracious me, Alan, being in the region, I said for a long time, it's always been part of what I've seen as a wonderful hotel, and just didn't realize the history. My goodness gracious me. You mentioned bedrooms, and you mentioned a penthouse suite, but you also mentioned meeting rooms and conference facilities. I'm guessing that your client base is fairly varied, is that right?
It very much is. We look at our business as 2 very distinct markets. We have the commercial market and we have the leisure market, and they're very different. They have very different needs, very different expectations. So we treat them slightly differently as well. The business market is mainly made up of large local businesses and commercial travelers, together with the conference trade as well, which sadly at the moment is very thin on the ground. We are taking conferences at the moment up to 6 people, but nothing like what we were doing pre-COVID. And then the leisure market, included in the leisure market, I would include weddings as well. But the leisure market is a much different set of clientele. But I always say to my staff that every commercial traveller that we have stay with us at some point will be a leisure traveller somewhere else. So we always have to remember that it's the same people, but with different needs, different expectations.
And that is very interesting, and I don't often think people think that way. Is one customer can actually become another type of customer, and I think we missed that out a couple of times. It's just same person, different reasons. I think what's also I'm just thinking about it, in a leisure customer and business customer walk-ins, is not only the local market, you're quite accessible to people traveling from, say, London down to the southwest, to Cornwall and places like that, aren't you?
Yeah, very much so. We are a popular stop-off point on the way to Devon and Cornwall. People from London, as you say, but also Manchester, the Midlands, Merseyside, those sort of areas where they're on their way down to Cornwall, and it's a long old drive, and the A303 is not the best road in the world. So what better than to stop off in beautiful Somerset on the way? And some people enjoy it so much that they end up staying 2 or 3 days, or even book on the way back as well. So that's a useful market for us.
I can imagine it is, and I'll attest that everybody listening to, really and truly, Somerset is beautiful and Lanes is wonderful, and it's a pleasant drive, not too far out of the way from the 303. which is you probably want to avoid at all costs.
Exactly.
Sometimes.
Exactly.
It's a welcome alternative from yours, and then back onto the A30 down, or the 37, which is the one that goes down to Dorchester.
Oh, I don't know off the top of my head. I've got to be honest. But I know the road you mean.
Yeah, but so people listening, if there's a stall up on the 303, please go to Lane, spend the night, have a wonderful meal, and there's a different route down into Dorset. You mentioned COVID-19 and pre-COVID-19, and I know your sector is probably one of the hardest hit in this. Can you tell me a little bit about how it did affect you, and what are the things that you're putting in place to still be able to cater for people?
Okay, well, COVID hit us around 2 weeks before the rest of the UK became attuned to how serious the matter was. And that's primarily because my biggest market is Northern Italy, because of Leonardo helicopters. So when Northern Italy was hit, around Milan, Bergamo, that area, it was like someone switched off a tap. So about 2 weeks before the rest of the UK had really discovered quite how serious things were going to become, we lost a huge tranche of business over 2 weeks. And like many other business owners, I was incredibly worried about what the future would hold. Because at that time we were quite isolated. Us and the hotels in the area were quite isolated with losing business. But then as things developed, I spoke to our bankers, and they were very supportive, I have to say. HSBC was superb throughout, and supported us. We were very fortunate, I have to admit, that not long into the lockdown period, we managed to secure a contract to look after some key workers. So right through the lockdown period, we had key workers staying with us. Not health, more on the civil engineering side of things, because there was a big landslide locally. That kept us going. That was a big help to keep cash flow turning over, and enabled us to continue. We opened slightly later than the rest of the industry for that very reason. We were looking after these key workers. We had them in a bubble, and we wanted to make sure that we'd done all our due diligence, checked all our risk assessments, and made sure that when we opened to the general public, we were in a safe position to do so. And since we've reopened, we've invested in the business. We've invested in making the business safer for people coming in from the street. I've just taken delivery of 20 new tables, beautiful new tables that our old tables were nice, but they weren't COVID friendly. So we've done that. We also have one of these fogging machines that you see on aeroplanes, and after every bedroom is cleaned, we fog the bedroom to make sure that everything is completely sterilized after every departure. So we're learning to adapt. We're on reduced opening times. We don't open at lunch times during the week anymore. We only open lunch times at weekend. But so far, I have to say that customers are supporting us, and I'm very grateful for that. We are seeing a lot of people coming back, a lot of regular people coming back, and very grateful for that.
Well, first of all, I'd like to personally from my side, thank you very much for the support that you lent to it, and I think that's incredibly important. Is that during this hard time that we stick together and we help each other out. So well done, and congratulations on that. And to see how you've pivoted and the things you put in place to make your customers feel and be safe, I think is commendable. I think a lot of the time, I don't know if you've noticed it, but you can stick to the regulations or you can go a bit further, because it's not so much what the regulations say, but how do we feel as customers and potential customers. And I think you've done a fantastic job, because I would honestly feel very comfortable to go and stay overnight in your hotel. That's fogging. Crikey, I never thought about that.
Mm,
That's pure genius.
Well, there's a number of hotels doing it. There's I belong to a hoteliers group, and I think pretty much most of us are doing it. So I can't take all the credit, but it's a great way of getting a bedroom completely sterilized in about 15 minutes. So if you are turning a bedroom over very quickly and you've got a departure arrival, you can turn the bedroom around. So there's good commercial sense to it as well.
It does, and it honestly, I think to everybody out there, that is brilliant. It is safe to go and night stop in the lanes or spend a couple of nights on the way down to Cornwall and Devon. Please do that. On that point, Shaun, is there something that you'd like to say to your current clients, to prospective customers? As I said, the following on this is international. So so not only just the Italians coming over, but various other people coming over to the Leonardo site. Anything you'd like to say?
I'd just like to say thank you for the support that we're getting from existing customers at this moment. We are open. We're open for business. We're welcoming our first guest from the United States on Sunday. He's just emailed me this morning to say that he's been quarantining at a hotel in Heathrow for the past 14 days and will be heading down to us on Sunday. He works in the aviation industry. And I've got some guests coming over from Japan, I think next month as well. So we are open. We're open for UK-based travelers as well as international travelers. And all of the staff here are dying to see customers through the door to look after, especially people that we've looked after, for years and years, familiar faces, but new faces as well. We are ready. We're open for business, and we're safe.
Well, I tell you what, I will be not so much a new face. I've been here before, but I will definitely be coming round for dinner one of these times. We'll definitely call you. So please, people. A wonderful, wonderful place, and let's all support Shaun. A couple of personal questions, Shaun. What is the one thing that you personally missed most during the lockdown?
Oh gosh, I worked every day through lockdown, and my days were busy. What did I miss most? I guess spending time with family, going out to eat, really. That's one thing that is important to me away from the business, is to go to other restaurants and look what other people are doing, learn from other people. You're never too old to learn, and it's nice to go out as a family and enjoy that experience. And I've missed that.
Yeah. Oh, I think I also worked through the lockdown. I think one of the biggest things, my wife and I are incredibly demonstrative people, and I lived in Italy for a while, so I missed hugs. I really did. It was the one thing I missed, is that personal time. What is one thing you've learned about yourself during this last, well, it's our 7 odd months since it hit us? Is there something in particular that you think back, oh my goodness gracious me, yeah, I did learn. I didn't think I would be able to.
That's a good question. Stamina is one thing, but I've always had stamina in business. I just keep going until a project is complete or a job is done. But that's been part of it. But I think one of the things that I've come out of the lockdown period with is a greater focus. I have a I feel I have a much keener focus and a much keener understanding of the business than before lockdown, and that's been invaluable. And now that we are open again to the public, that's coming through in a lot of decisions that I'm making.
That's inspiring, and the reason why I asked the question is because I think it's very important that whenever we've been through some trying situation, it's very easy to think about the negative, to think about the bad. but it's so important to think about the positive. Do you know what? I have learned something out of this. I have grown out of that. So thank you very, very much for sharing that with us. Shaun, the last thing I would like to ask you is probably also quite a difficult question. Who is the one person who has most inspired you in life, and why?
Oh, that's a good question. I've been very fortunate in my career to work for some incredibly talented people, and I'm still in touch with my first ever real boss. And I was just emailing him the other day. A chap called David Welsh was my first ever boss. I was a management trainee, and he took me under his wing, and he was a tough but fair man. And after my management training, I went off to work at another hotel, and after a year there, he'd been promoted to a much larger hotel in Edinburgh, and contacted me and said, I need you as part of my team. So I went back and did a further 2 years with him. So I did 4 years in total. He was a super guy, and he spent a lot of time explaining a lot of management things to me that really helped me with my career and helped me with making decisions in the future. So probably David, although there have been many others as well that have been great bosses to work for, and truly inspiring.
Wow, and I'm sure he'd love to hear that. Thank you very, very much. I really appreciate that. And I thank you for spending the time this morning and telling us a bit about, well, Lanes, and a bit about yourself. And what I'd like to say is, come on, guys, for all the local businesses out there, let's support each other. So let's support Lanes. Yes, the conferencing facilities are, the restrictions in place, but they are going to open up. I'm really positive about that. And I'll definitely be coming and taking, and visiting you for a meal, and people further afield, wonderful, wonderful hotel, beautiful little village. So please make sure you use it. It's a wonderful stop off. And those in the aerospace business, hey, that's the place to be. Shaun, from my side, thank you very, very much. I don't know if there's a final word you'd like to say to everyone.
No, the only thing I haven't mentioned actually is because we had some time on our hands during lockdown, we did manage to do a mini refurbishment. So the place is looking brighter and fresher, with lots of new bits of furniture and what have you going on. And one thing that's very important to commercial travelers and conference guests is the quality of the Wi-Fi. We always had pretty good Wi-Fi here, but I've invested even more in the Wi-Fi during lockdown, and we've had a new system installed that really is giving us, well, it's given us 60 meg on the
wow,
on the Wi-Fi at the moment on the download. So that's as good as I think we're going to get it, and I know that's very important these days.
Absolutely, and the point I'm trying to make on that, after hearing that, is people. Yeah, take six of your colleagues. If you're going to have a Zoom meeting with somebody else, get away from the office, and go and use your facility, because go and make a day out of it with no distractions, and you can have a Zoom call with that type of broadband. Crikey, the world's your oyster, as they say.
Indeed. Well, thank you. I've enjoyed it. Thank you for your time.